What's up, guys? It's your favorite Kiwi coach. If you guys are watching this, you guys have already watched the first part to this FlightScope setup series. In this second part, we're actually going to connect the rental iPad that you guys have received to the FlightScope's native Wi-Fi. As well, we're going to give you the basics on how to get started using the FlightScope app so you can actually start tracking data. So let's get into the first part. So to connect to the FlightScope's native Wi-Fi, all you have to go do is press the power button to the FlightScope first if you haven't already. Once you do that, all you have to do is go to Settings. Once you go to Settings, you're going to find an option for Wi-Fi. Go ahead and click on that. And then from here, you should see the FSXI 03937. If you see it, go ahead and select it. If you don't see it, really simply, just go up to where it says Wi-Fi. Press on the green button here. That'll turn the Wi-Fi off. Press it back on. And then you should see the option for the FSXI 03937. Now, if you don't see it, go ahead and click it on and off a couple times, but eventually you will see it. Once you do see it, go ahead and click on it, and then you're going to start to be connecting to the FlightScope's Wi-Fi. Now, once you're actually connected to the FlightScope's Wi-Fi, the next thing is let's go find the app. So on the rental iPad, all you have to go do is swipe over one time, and you're going to see the options of SF Skills and then the FSVX. Both of these apps are actually affiliated with FlightScope, and you can use both. However, I strongly recommend to just use the FSVX option. It's going to be the better option, and this is where we're actually going to make this tutorial video on. So go ahead and click on that app. Now, once you clicked on that app, you're going to see something in the top right-hand corner. It's either going to say connected or connecting. That just means that if it's connected, you're connected to the FlightScope's Wi-Fi. If it's connecting, then it's connected. If it says disconnected and it stays red, that means that you actually have to go through and complete the steps for part one of this video over until you actually see it to be connected. Now, if you've connected in the first place, I highly doubt you'll see it say disconnected. That's a very rare occurrence, but if it does happen, just go ahead and complete step one. All right, to actually start tracking your data, the first step is you have to go to where it says full swing and ball tracking. Now, my screen is going to be in English, however, the iPad, when we send it to you, is going to be in Japanese. So this will actually all be in Japanese, so it should be pretty basic to follow along. But go ahead and click where it says full swing and ball tracking. Now, once you click on that, you're going to see an option that says name the session. This is a great place for you to actually start to categorize your session so you can actually see the improvement while you're using this FlightScope. I highly recommend to do this. So for this option, let's just go ahead and click on FlightScope Session 1 is what we're going to type in. Again, you can label this however you want to label this, but for us, we're going to go FlightScope Session 1, and then we're going to go ahead and press where it says Start. Now, once you get this, you're going to come up with two player options. Please do not use Peter Tsai. That's one of my San Diego students. Please use Mike Rossetier, which is the top option. Go ahead and click on that, and that's going to lead you now over to this next section. So this section is the golf bag, which if you've ever used TrackMan or any type of launch monitor, you've probably seen this before. This is where you select the club that you're currently going to be using to track the data. So if you're going to be tracking like a lob wedge, sand wedge, pitching wedge, they have those options there. Any of your irons, they have the options there. Any of your hybrids and your woods. Now, if you don't see a club that you're trying to use currently here, all you have to go do is press on the Add Club option. Select the club that you don't see. Let's say it's a 9-wood. Select that. Press Finished. And then now you're going to see the actual option. And then you can go select it and then press Start your session. For this particular session, let's just say we're going to use a 7-iron. So we're going to select that and then we're going to press Start Session. All right. So once we start the session, you're going to see a screen that looks like this. The most important part you have to see first is, again, in the top right-hand corner. If it says Ready here, that means that you're actually good to go ahead and hit, and you're going to go hit the shots. If it says Connected and it's not ready yet, if you hit the shot, FlightScope will actually not track the data. Another thing to notice is if you don't hit shots for like 5 to 10 minutes, you might actually see it say Sleeping, and it'll be in a blue color. That means that the FlightScope is kind of in standby mode. It's conserving energy. So if it says Sleeping, all you have to go do is click on where it says Sleeping. It'll give you the option where it says Wake. Press Wake, and then it's going to wake the FlightScope up, and then you can actually start using it again. That would be the option to do that. Now, on this section, you're going to see a couple other things here. You don't really need to worry about most of these except for the battery percentage. So if the FlightScope suddenly turns off and you're wondering why, probably the battery was low and you needed to have charged it. However, when you do receive the FlightScope from us, it will be 100% charged. Currently right now it's 67%, but that is how you can check what percentage of battery that you have. It's just by clicking on the ready, the sleeping, or just clicking on this top right hand corner. So another section that you should see here is really how to switch it from different modes. So if you're hitting in an indoor driving range, I want you to go to where it shows the gear icon and go ahead and click on that. This is where you can actually select what type of range that you're using. So if you're using a short indoor range and it gives you a description of what that is, you can go ahead and click on the short indoor. If you're using an indoor range, which also gives you the requirements, go ahead and click on that. If you're using long indoor, which I don't think a lot of you guys would here in Japan, but if you are, you can go ahead and click on that. And then outdoors, if you're on an open range hitting outdoors, go ahead and click on that. Now the surface type, it's just how much roll you're going to see. So this is a great place to start using your course's specific, let's say, fairway types. So if you have really firm fairways or really firm greens, I would keep the option of hard. If you kind of have like medium fairway firmness and fairway good greens, greens, go ahead and click on medium. And then if you have like really soft conditions because it's been raining out, you can press soft. And you can get a really simulated practice to what your course conditions are typically like. And that's how you're going to use that. All these other options right here where it says slow swing speeds, show measure data, I would not worry about those at all. Please just keep those as is. But really the short indoor, indoor, long indoor, outdoor, and then the surface type would be the only options I would mess around with this FlightScope. Okay, so now from here, once we click off that, the next thing is, okay, what if I want to change clubs? Well, if you go up to where it says 7-iron and you click on this, it actually switches now to an 8-iron. Now, if you want to select maybe, let's say, a driver, I would recommend to double-click. If you double-click, now your golf bag comes back up, and you can actually switch to driver any club that you want to, and then you press continue, and then now you're actually tracking your driver. Now, this is really important for you guys because, again, if you're hitting a driver with a 7-iron, some of the data might be a little bit off, so I highly recommend and strongly recommend that if you're hitting driver, make sure it's on driver. You're hitting 7-iron, make sure it's on 7-iron. You're going to get the most accurate data if you do it that way. Now, the next thing with this first screen is you're going to see on the bottom part here some tiles. So these tiles have carry distance, roll, total distance, ball, club speed, a bunch of data points that for most of you guys, you might not need to track all of them. Some of you guys, you might want to track all of them. And don't worry, not in this video, but in another video, we're going to be going over each and every single tile, giving you just a basic definition of what it currently is and then how you can use it in your practice. But for this video, we're not going to. But if you want to see different types of data points, just scroll to the right, and you can see pretty much all the data points that they currently have here, all the tiles. And then also, you'll see carry distance, a roll, V-swing, and total distance on the right here. You can actually change these however you want. Let's say if you wanted to see your club path or your smash factor actually, just double click on smash factor and now you'll actually see it pop up on the right hand side here. And this is just an easier way to where you don't have to scroll so much and you can actually see what you want to track right there. Okay, now in this particular data set we don't actually have shots, but if you wanted to actually see different shots and kind of compare, you go down here to where you see the red record button. Right off to the right, it has a little dash / dash. That would normally say 1 of 1 or 1 of 2, and it shows you pretty much how many shots you've hit as well as what shot you're currently looking at. All you'd have to go do is just click it once and you could go to the next shot, or if you double click it, you can actually see the list of shots and you can select which shot you would like to use. That's a really handy feature when you're trying to see, hey, I hit this drive really far, and this drive really short. You can kind of see, okay, what changed with the data points, and you can start kind of coming up with some ideas of, okay, what feeling did I do that produced the different results that got me to hit the ball further. That's a great option for that right there. Now, if you go up to where it says Ready Outdoor and then go to where it has little 4 kind of opaque tiles right there, go ahead and click on that. So now this brings up all the other options you can kind of use with this app. Currently, we're in 3D trajectory mode. You can also go to grouping. So if I click on grouping here, if you had hit shots, it would show your grouping of shots. So you can kind of see your lateral dispersion as well as your long to short dispersion for each club hit. And it's a really handy thing to kind of see, okay, as I kind of go work towards driver, how wide does my dispersion get? and it's a really handy tool to kind of use to see that type of stuff. Now if we go click on those opaque tiles again, you can go ahead and see club analysis. So again, we haven't hit any shots, so you're not going to see a club analysis, but if you go click on this, normally you would be able to see the club path, you'd be able to see the angle attack, the vertical swing plane, and all this good stuff. I think for the advanced player, this is kind of cool to look at. Even for you amateur golfers, it's cool to look at, but for a lot of you guys, you're not going to get a lot of value out of this, so I would probably recommend not really using that. Focus analysis is actually, you need an extra add-on to use this. You need the focus band. We don't have this with our rental product, so you're not going to use that at all. 2D trajectory just shows you really the trajectory in 2D. Again, if we had hit some shots, you could see the trajectory of the shot. It's cool to kind of see that as well. I usually don't use that in lessons too much, so I don't see you using that as much. Where you're really going to see a lot of your, or spend a lot of your time, and where I recommend you to spend a lot of your time is dashboard and table. So if we go to dashboard here, dashboard is where you can actually start selecting which tiles you want to be currently tracking on. For example, if you're trying to work on your curvature, you could have your club path and face the target there, and you can track just those and see kind of what's going on. Currently right now, you can see I have quite a bit of tiles right here. If I feel like that's too much information and I don't want to use all of these, all you have to go do is select the tile you don't want, let's say spin loft, double click, and it's going to disappear, right? And really, I think the max that you can take off is pretty much all of them except for 3. So you can only have, once you get down to 3, I don't think you can, you can't take off any more. So you can see 3 tiles at the very minimum, and then you can see up to, I think, maybe like 12, 15. I could be wrong with that number, but you can see quite a bit of tiles as well. Now, if you don't see the tile that you want to track here, go down to the bottom part. Let's say if I wanted to see club speed, just double click on club speed, and now it pops up here, and then you can now track it. We already went over how to get rid of them. You just click the one you don't want, like low point, double click, and it's going to go away. That's how you can use the dashboard. Again, this is one of the best places where you can really just kind of see the differences between shots and really kind of see what you want to look at. Now from here, the next best option I think is table. If we go over to table right here, now it currently has no data, and in a second here I'm actually going to show you a session that actually has data so you can see it, what it looks like better. But then the table, this actually, you know, I said the last part was the best place to kind of see the comparison between shots. This is actually probably the best. I should have said this one. This is where you can really compare your shots and you can see all the little data points. So for me, I'm actually going to go hop over real quick to a session that actually has data so I can show you this in a little bit more detail, and then we're going to explain kind of some points of the table. Okay, so now I'm in the table of a session we recently did with one of our professional golfers. Currently, we're looking at the driver table. So again, you can see every single little data point that FlightScope has. It gives you averages at the bottom, it gives you deviation at the bottom, and you can kind of see each shot and see kind of the differences between the two. So this is a great place to kind of see, okay, I hit a really good drive on drive number 2, but drive number 9, let's say, was not very good. What were the differences between those two? What data points changed? And this is a great place to start looking for your search of what I need to change to get my good shots. Again, it's a great place to kind of see, okay, this is a good shot, this is a bad shot. Let's say my dynamic loft was this on the good shot, my dynamic loft was this on the bad shot. Okay, maybe I don't need to take off loft, or maybe I need to add loft. Again, it's a great place to kind of see all of this data right here. If you scroll down, this player also hit a 5-wood and a driver, so on the tiles section or table section, you can actually see each club that you hit as well as all the shots in there, and then 5-iron as well. So pretty much whatever club that you hit, it will track it here. If you want to, for some reason, delete one of the shots, let's say you hit a duff shot and you don't want to add it into your data set, all you have to go up here is click edit, the red edit sign. Once you click edit, select the shot that you don't like. Let's say shot number 3 with the driver we didn't like. Select that, go to where it says delete one and go ahead and press that. Now what I found is the first time I press it, it doesn't automatically delete it sometimes. So you might have to go and press it twice to make it delete. However, this particular time I pressed it one time and it did delete it. So again, it's some like little bug that I don't really like about FlightScope, but when you are trying to delete it, just make sure if it doesn't automatically delete, just click it one more time and then it should delete. Once you're done editing your data set, just press close edit, and then now you can actually get different averages and different deviations once you've took out that duff shot. Again, if you're trying to get somewhat of an accurate representation of your data set and you hit a shot that's not anywhere near what you typically hit, don't keep that shot in there. Just delete that shot so you can get a better representation of kind of what you currently do. That would be when I'd want to delete a shot out of the data set. But anyways, that is kind of the tiles right there. Last but not least, there's video analysis. So you can actually connect like a video to this. I usually don't do that in lessons. I usually video separately with a different software. But you could do this. I'm not going to go over this because I don't recommend you guys to do. It's kind of a lengthy setup, as well as I think that there's better analysis softwares like Huddle to actually look at your video when you're looking at that. So now from here, all you have to do is go ahead and press back. And when you press back, it's going to take you to the 3D trajectory. And again, this is kind of the basic. This is probably where a lot of you guys will spend most of your time because you can actually see the ball flight as well as see the tiles that you want to take a look at. But yeah, that is pretty much the app. Now there's some other features here like weather conditions. You can mess around with altitude, air pressure. I would highly recommend you guys to not get really into the nitty-gritty details of that. It's more so for a professional golfer who's maybe going to be preparing for different types of altitude courses, etc. For you guys at home, just keep it on the standard normal settings that I have it to when I send it to you, and just start hitting shots, track the tiles, and then you can use it from there. So that's pretty much how to use the FSVX app. That's how to connect the FlightScope's native Wi-Fi to the iPad. Again, you can see all this in English currently. Your iPad is actually going to be in Japanese, so you can actually, and will be, able to see all these tiles in Japanese. So I think it'll be pretty easy for you guys to use. In the next video, what we're going to be doing is we're going to actually break down some of the main data points that we want a lot of you guys to be tracking that we probably talked about in lessons. We'll break those down, give you the definitions, and then show you how you can kind of track those and kind of maybe manipulate those a little bit with this. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you again so much for purchasing our FlightScope rental program. We hope you guys refer your friends, all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys again in the next tutorial.